Hello, soul friends. This is Miriam. Welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is going to be all about how to deal with that difficult person on your mind. So that could be whatever relationship you've got going on with this person, romantic, platonic, personal, or professional. So remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or is simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. No matter how you look at that, it is healthy and you are in the right place. I'm just showing you the cards we shall be using, and I'm going to live shuffle them for you today, so those will be time stamped for you. I hope you've all been well. It's been very hot this summer. And so this is the tarot deck we'll be using. These are the oracle cards we'll be using. You'll get some of these for every group, and then we'll also be doing some clarification. I was trying to say it like a Southern belle. From this deck here. So you'll be getting two different types of tarot today. And the rest, that's where these were all made and found, and who made them. Generally, unless there's like a smaller seller situation like on Etsy, I just show you the boxes and then you can Google search them. You can usually find whatever you're looking for, and that way the people that made these can, you know, spread their joy. All right, so without further ado, let's get into live shuffling. Bye. Okay, so live shuffling begins. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, okay. Oh. So you've got a person that's bugging you, huh? I think that, does anybody else agree with this? That there's like just one of those in your life? Whatever scene that you're in your life, there's always at least one of those, like just kind of hanging out, waiting to suck. I don't know a nicer way to say it. Just kind of waiting to make things not as easy for us as they would be if that person would just stop being a silly in whatever way they're being difficult. I'm already getting a couple of vibes. I am getting romance vibes, of course. Thank you. I'm also getting vibes of somebody has like a teenage child that's really driving you a little bit crazy, huh, guys? That could be. So when those come in the beginning, when we're still separating piles, there could be multiple messages for you if this is about a teenage child. Okay. And maybe they don't need to be a teenager. Maybe they're just in that difficult, snotty phase. That happens earlier and earlier nowadays. So some of you might be like, she's only 10, but yeah, that's what, you know, I'm picking up on from her. And again, I apologize for my camera being terrible. We're going to be like stuck like this for a couple of years, guys, because this is a brand new phone and the camera is awful. Okay, one more set of oracle cards for you. And I'm going to make it look pretty for the picture, of course. as pretty as I can. Some of these other readers do really pretty displays. And they always have very like crazy decorative nails. I'm like, that's going to be a rare occurrence to see my nails done. Okay. Any of you like doing your nails a lot? Show me pictures. I feel like these are going to be very long readings because you guys are getting a lot of cards for each pile. But heck, you know, it's that time of year. End of August is when I'm filming this. And I think by that point we're usually really done with feeling hot and school is starting for those wonderful little kids that drive you crazy all summer long, huh? I'm still talking to those parents that are popping up in my... Okay, your guides are here. Okay. Now let's get you some rocks. Group 1, let's have you be the green aventurine. Group 2, yellow rock. Oh, group 3, this peachy heart is calling to me for some reason. And group 4, a turtle. All right. Go ahead and pause if you need. Otherwise, we will see you in your individual readings all about how to deal with this person who is currently a challenge for you in some way. I mean, let's just, call it what it is. They're upsetting you, right? Okay. We will see you in your individual readings. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Hi, group 1. Okay, so right off the bat, I just have to say, I'm not sure if this is the parent pile yet, but I am sure that whatever is bothering you, it's like kind of bothering you on a big scale. Okay, here's what I'm feeling. Is like possibly a teacher who's got some really rambunctious kids. And or you're dealing with that parental energy there's definitely going to be messages for them in here if somebody's dealing with unruly kids at work or dealing with unruly kids, like possibly maybe you live with like older family and you're an aunt or an uncle of some very small children of your siblings, kind of uncle aunt feelings. But I feel like you're on your own. I don't feel like it's an aunt and uncle living together dealing with these kids. But let me know if I'm wrong. Or if you get something from it and you are in that situation, let me know. It's like, it could be that like where you work, I'm also picking up the place that you work. It's not like you're working with kids, but it's a place where kids frequent. And there's some really rambunctious, and not just rambunctious, they're disrespectful, even to the point of threatening for some of you. Like you're like, these are like young punks kind of situation. Not to give you a hard time if you dress punk or are a different type of, I'm talking like delinquent behavior. Like maybe they're not committing crimes, but you feel like it could push that way because they're that disrespectful and rambunctious. I'm getting two different scenarios, like an urban scenario and a scenario where it's like a small community. And so all the people are pretty much the same there. You all know each other like a lot better than a bigger community would. In the urban community, I feel like it's a tight-knit community nonetheless, even though it's in an urban setting. Like you all know where some of each other live and things like that. So like maybe a block situation, or I'm getting flashes of that. And you guys always know that I use TV shows that flash in my mind because I always have my TV on in the background when I'm like working or doing anything. It helps me visualize pictures. And I'm seeing that show. It's called Fear Thy Neighbor. And it's like real true crime stories about neighbors like committing crimes against each other, because their kids vandalized something or because they just got into a weird, stupid fight, or somebody ended up having some kind of a mental break and stuff just happens and it just happens to happen next door. Like I'm feeling that tight-knit tension of like, some of you know where y'all live and you're like, I don't like that. If you're like a teacher and you're dealing with rambunctious kids, you definitely don't want them to know where you live. I totally relate to that. And it could just be like one kid that's just really giving you, it's like, oh, it's so hard to explain, but I think you'll understand if you're in this situation. It's like, they can be scary, y'all. Like, kids get big and they can do, we've seen enough true crime stuff to know that it feels a little bit iffy sometimes if we're going to be all right. Okay, hang on. I gotta straighten this camera. Okay, so enough said. Sorry if it's shaky for a minute. I was just... Okay. I'm trying to remember the properties of green aventurine. Like, it has like a soothing vibe to me. Maybe that's not what it officially should normally be, but that's what I'm picking up on from it. Like, your guides are trying to soothe you, are trying to reassure. That's coming in already about this situation. There might be more scenarios than just rambunctious kids, like with parents. If your parents, that they live with you and their friends come to your house. Yeesh. I can't imagine how terrifying that must be sometimes. Tell me in the comments. Okay, which card do I want to start with? I want to start with this one. Perspective. Okay. Take a breath. I feel like... Well, I was going to say something, and then one of your guides told me to stop by needing to clear my throat there. So, let me think. Okay. Okay, I'm picking up little kids for this particular message. This is just one message, very specific for somebody. Like playdate drama. And your guides are saying to stop focusing on the parents and focus on playing with your kid while you're there. If you're not there, focus on what you need to do because your kid isn't around. That's a very strong but specific message coming through for someone. Some of you, this is a message. You have a dog that looks like this. You walk your dog and you have deep thoughts when you think about, you go to clear your head, but at the same time, it's also a time where you really dig to the deep, meaty parts of like what's going wrong in your life right now. Because we never get away, y'all. Like, if we're going through life, this is something that you just learn the hard way getting old. Either that or I'm just an extremely negative person and just, there's always something bad in my life that I can focus on. I don't really think that's true, though. I feel like we come here to learn lessons, and when we're working towards having a beautiful life, and I think that people that watch videos like this are working towards having a meaningful and beautiful life. I think that's something that we all have in common. And it makes those little things that come up, those people that are more difficult, so much more annoying, because it's like, it feels so much like if you were not here, things would be fine. But here you are, right? Taking all the, it would be perfect out of my life, And the perspective that the guides want you guys to focus on, and this is a message across the board for everybody watching this, is that, check yourself and put yourself into perspective. Is it a big, huge problem? And it might be. We're getting there. Okay, this is going to be a long reading. But I mean, I shouldn't say that. It might get really short here in a second. I don't know. But the person, like, check your perspective. Is it a big problem, or is it a little thing that seems magnified because things in your life right now are actually going really well? Okay. That is something that's coming through for all of you across the board. It doesn't mean that everybody here that's listening is not in a serious situation. We'll get there. It just means that that's a good way to check to see, okay, what's the reality of this situation? Is it really as bad as we think? Is my kid really on their way to Skid Row? Or are they really like, maybe we got to get them checked out by a doctor because we think there might be something going on in their mind that we can't help them with, right? Or that there's cognitively something going on that they need something to help them more than what we can give. Those are all valid questions and should always be like explored by anybody that's dealing with kids, you know? And even if you're in a work situation where you're not in charge of the kids, but they still come, they patronize, right? They come in and they, you know, it might be more loitering than patronizing in some instances. I totally get it. But it is still kind of like you have a responsibility to your space. And that includes like keeping yourself safe. It goes, you know, that comes first beyond your job, beyond your, you know, whatever, you know, if it's your kids, you're keeping your kids safe and then yourself safe, you know, and you know the deal. But is that the perception that you need to have of how bad it is? Like, get our perspective in order. So you guys are saying to take maybe a little walk with your doggo, clear your head. You can walk your cat. That's fine too. I wished I could do that with mine. I love harness kitty videos where they're in their little harnesses and they're going on little kitty cat adventures on boats and they're climbing trees. It's good times watching those. It does my heart really good. Okay. Let's see what else we have to say here. Like, yeah, your guys are saying that across the board too, that like, no matter how bad things get, like, not to sound negative Nancy, but like things can always get worse, you know? And so it is important to look at what is going well and keep your perspective on that. Okay, so now I'm talking to the people that it is a serious situation. I'm not saying neglect the situation. Your guys are saying focus on what is working. Draw strength from it. Okay. So that could be, you know, some of you, I feel like maybe your kid is a nightmare right now, but you are really tight with your other parent, right? Like you guys have a solid bond as far as when it comes to dealing with those kids, right? And some of you, I feel like it's actually a love thing. Okay. The other difficult energy that came in early on in the reading when we were still picking piles was romance. I'm not seeing this here yet. So I want to be upfront about that. I know that's coming, but I don't know if it's this pile. But we still got a lot of cards to go, so let's keep on going. We have Corn Dollies, number 11. The relationships that nourish are those you nurture with your spirit. Yes, okay. I feel like that's more confirmation that this situation, regardless of how dire it feels at this moment or how dire it may actually be, you are also surrounded by some beautiful things. And your guides are saying to nourish those relationships that are working for you. I know a lot of times when it's like your kid, right? That's your number one relationship, as well it should be. But there are other relationships and you can draw strength from them, and that's coming through for the parents. It's also coming through for people who are working with children. So like if you're a teacher, you might have like another coworker who's opposite gendered from you. It doesn't matter which one, but you're different in some way like that. And you both bring a really solid approach to your craft of working with kids. It could be social work. It could be like you could be nannies in this urban area. Ew. I just got a flash of nannies that like actually frequent. It's like a bigger area, right? That urban flavor. So this is coming through for somebody that's in that urban space. It doesn't have to be all the urbans. Just I'm picking up what I'm putting down. That's all I can say. That you know, go to the same parks. You sometimes will even, not all of you do this probably, and so don't worry, you know, I get it. Like you might have arrangements where like they watch your kids so you can run to the store really quick and you get something for them. You know, it could be that tight knit of a like au pair, like is it au pair or au pair? It's probably au pair. I don't know how it's all French to me. Okay. But you have some kind of a stability at work. I also just got interesting. I got scrubs too, like hospital scrubs. But I feel like you might be dealing with like a kid ward of some sort, like a wing in the hospital that's for pediatrics, or like it could even be like that kid delinquency feeling is coming back. And Please don't think I'm like trashing these kids. I was a delinquent. It's not like you're a delinquent forever. You do like, you do delinquent behavior for a while. Some of us do. And then like you either grow out of it or you keep doing it. It depends on what kind of help you get. In my experience, that's, And so when you hear me saying, I'm just talking about the behavior. I'm not saying that they're bad. I feel like you really care about them. And that's why you're doing that job. And the same thing with the teachers, And so it's like, but I see the scrubs. Like I see like it's not just, you might be like on a medical ward in a juvenile facility. Thank you, guides, because I could not have spit that out myself. Okay. Interesting. Lots of stuff coming through. I'm just gonna keep going with the flow. If I lose your storyline, I apologize. That means that, your messages that you needed to get, they came through, and that's what you got for, general reading. So you gotta take what you can get. And sometimes there's nothing for you. It's just the way it is. Okay, take a deep breath and remember the peace of mind is the key to navigating your current challenge. Wow. Oh, I feel for you guys. But you're doing, I feel like your guides want to remind you with this Lion card, you're doing the best you can. It's also, I think we might still be in Leo season. But I have to be honest, I'm not an astrology person at all. I missed that boat. And I feel like to be good at astrology, you have to have been like doing more than just reading horoscopes when you were 12, unless you just have like a knack for picking up new things that are extremely complicated. Some of you are probably like, astrology is the easiest thing. I'm like, not to me, it isn't. I can't remember all the rules. Okay, so, but I am feeling like that Leo, some of you might be Leos. Some of you just might have that. I have the strength card energy from tarot as well. I wouldn't be surprised if a strength card didn't pop up in your reading again with the tarot cards. But now that I said that, it probably won't happen. It would be cool if it would have, but, the strength card shows that healer's energy. And they're like taking that thorn out of that big scary lion. Kids can be scary. Like when you're a kid professional of some kind, or you're just working in a booth. Ooh, I got flashes of fairs too, like being in a food booth and having like these just rough little suckers just roll out of that carnival area, right? And they're high and they're ruckusy and they're looking to have fun, but at someone else's expense, right? And you're like, no, don't come over here. Don't come over here. And one of them makes eye contact with you and their eyes get a little bit bigger and they start beeline towards you and you're like, no, no, please. That is coming through. And it can feel scary. But what's crazy about what your guides want you to remember is that you're strong. You actually have, okay, and this is a very important message for all of you because it can feel so helpless trying to figure out how to wrangle kids. They don't call it herding cats for nothing. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing people say when they work around kids and with kids and they have kids. Or you live in a neighborhood with lots of kids and it's always all about the kids, right? We live in a tight-knit community and like it can get heated about what's good for the kids. You know what I mean? And so I understand. That feeling is coming through so thick that like I'm feeling your anxiety that it induces from all those different situations. Like some of you, it's like the parents and the older people are like giving you a hard time at play dates, like mama drama. There's papas there too. Mama and papa drama. Papa mama drama? That sounds pretty good. Okay. And your guides are saying to focus on the children in that instance, right? For those of you that are dealing with ruckusy kids, this main message is coming through. All of you have a very, very strong spiritual connection to children. And that's not something that everybody gets. I got it in a spiritual way with kids that aren't mine, right? And I didn't get it with like the being the mom thing, okay? And I'm seeing that different current, that same spiritual current running through everybody that's watching this, that, you know, have figured out this is the pile you're supposed to be in at this point, right? I think we're pretty much on a theme here. That you have that strength, you have that ability to tame those little beasts. And some of you might think that I'm saying like mean things about kids, and like I loved working with kids, but they could go beast mode. They could go very conniving. They could be very turncoat. I remember a professor saying they will turn on you like the little dogs that they are. And I laughed and thought, oh my gosh, that's so mean, you know? And then I felt that. And now I understand what he was going through and what he was explaining and warning us about. Okay, let's get some more cards for you. Some of you might actually call them that. We always had a name for the ruckusy kids between me and a few other coworkers that I had. We'd look at each other and shake our heads and shrug and be like, the little darlings. But really we meant like, you know, a more negative connotation to that. Look at this, that healing energy. It's again, the little raccoon is like helping heal the fox that would be like its natural predator, right? That's totally the lion card. I knew you were going to get another strength card. It wasn't the strength card from tarot yet. Stormfields. Yeah, and it's like, for some of you, I mean, let's just say it. Like, every kid out there, this time of year, they're going back to school in some capacity. It doesn't matter how unique their situation is. If they're not going to school, then they're missing school, and that does something to them as well. Okay. And so there's a restlessness that happens at the end of summer, you know, a shift in their energy and a shift in the vibe. And the weather does get stormier. It doesn't, you know, I feel like some of you are dealing with some big storms as well, and it's just making things even more difficult. Like, she's got her umbrella. Like, maybe some of you live somewhere really cloudy. I'm seeing like I don't know. Pennsylvania just ran through my head. Not that Pennsylvania is super cloudy. I actually don't know much about it because it's on a very, very opposite part of the United States than I live. And I've never been. I would like to go and see it. Okay. Yeah, somewhere with historical buildings. I'm getting that vibe again of like community, like maybe you're like parents who are in groups in schools where you like the parents really get involved. And I think that's so great. And generally you'll be better off for it, right? There's that perspective again, but like it's better than to not have it in some cases. The kids usually do really well when there's like heavy parental involvement, but then you have the papa mama drama. I feel that. I'm getting that. Okay. Still no romance, which is great. Okay, we have 6 of Wands. Now we're going to start to get really into like probably some advice. I don't know where to put these yet. 6 of Wands is showing me that you're actually very admired by how you are with these kids. So if you're working in a stand and they come rolling out of that carnival or out of like Hot Topic. I said Hot Topic because I used to shop there when I was a ruckusy kid. Just kidding. I didn't shop there because we didn't live around malls. But I went there every time I got to see a mall. A lot. Every time I went to a mall, which was like, you know, 2 or 3 times a year up until college when we lived by one. And then I was like, this isn't so great. Anyway. You're like admired by somebody with how you're dealing with all of this, even though you feel like you're not dealing with it well at all. I think that you guys, there's that recurring theme of you have this ability to deal with children in whatever capacity you're dealing with them in, whatever age group. And sometimes that can bring that papa mama drama, adult drama to you because not everybody has they can have that that same connection to children, but it's so different for every single person that like people like to kind of scrutinize and look down their nose at each other and be like, hey, look over there. They're doing it differently, so they must be doing it wrong because maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I don't want you guys to think that, so look over there. That kind of energy is also coming through. Yep, Seven of Wands, you feel ganged up on, some of you. Sometimes you feel ganged up on by the kids. You get ganged up on by the other moms, the other dads, the other adults in the room that are in charge, right? The English teachers are over there snickering at the coaches over here, you know, that kind of thing. The Hermit. Excuse me. That's the second time I've had to clear my throat. I almost feel like some of you haven't spoken up that need to, and you know who you are. Another message coming in is that some of you have earned the right to speak up more, but you've been trying to stay out of that drama. I feel that mostly for the people who are dealing with challenging adults rather than challenging children. And maybe with the ones who are dealing with challenging children, you're not sure what you can say. I get that. There's restrictions, you know, on how you can deal with kids that are not yours. Knight of Swords. Ooh, but the answer is coming to that speaking out. Ooh. And you might not care if it starts a little storm of your own. I'm getting that through from somebody. Interesting. I love it. King of Wands. Yep. That is like fiery but steady. You are dealing with this better than you think. So like for the parents, I'm really honestly not seeing this ending, or at least it doesn't have to, into like the unending delinquency of your child and the separation that can cause. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you actually taking the lessons that your guides and the advice that your guides are giving you, and you're actually stepping up. I see this with everybody that I see you working with the kids, that you figure out your niche for it, that you figure out that mind control that you have to get over them to get them to mind, right? I know that sounds like creepy, but it's, you know, when you're working with kids, you do have to have strategies. Just to throw this out there, anyone that's dealing with ruckusy kids at home and ruckusy kids in school, and maybe ruckusy kids anywhere where you're kind of the one in charge, they want you to be so that they can like dismantle you. Right? That is going on, right, guys? Like you feel that? Like they are being ruckusy to the people that they put in charge. They're like, okay, you're in charge of me. I've accepted that. Now I'm going to dismantle you. And so staying in charge is important, but yelling at them and pushing against them isn't usually what works, because then they're like, oh, I can push harder. Watch me push harder, right? It's a more subtle approach where you're like, okay, well, if you don't sit down, you know, Charlie or whatever. I don't know if Charlie is a significant name or not. I always had a few Charlies in my class, but they were always good. So this isn't on them. So let me know if you're working with a kid named Charlie. Just kidding. Just know that that's confirmation. You don't have to tell me some kid's name on the internet. Okay. But yeah, it's like this idea of, if you don't sit down, Charlie, well, we're just not going to get anything done today. And like, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to get something done today, you know? And generally, when you start saying that, kids in the class will be like, sit down, Charlie. And Charlie will be like, I don't want to deal with them, you know, and they'll sit down. That's just one example of like a strategy. There's different strategies that work, but usually they're a more passive approach. Can be a lot when it comes to like a kid that likes to headbutt with you. Okay. That's a message coming through. Oh, let's see. Lots of goodies. Four of Swords. Yeah, take a rest. You don't have to make this all fixed today. I know when you're dealing with kids, it feels like you need to, or it'll just get worse and worse. And like any second, they could do something really bad, right? I also feel like for those of you that are around those adults, you're around those adults. And like, I feel like for some of you, it does affect your career, how you all get along, you know? And You can't just tell somebody to F off and mind their own business, right? It would like cause problems for the kids. It would cause problems for you. It would cause problems for your kids, you know, that kind of energy. Your guides are saying to just like, you're going to learn how to use your voice, and you're going to learn to know when to not speak and when to take a rest. I think right now you're just like figuring out how you feel about this for the most part, because it's like a stressful situation across the board. I feel that stress. I'm like guzzling water. There's so much stress. So it's like, and it's hot. That's why you see the little ceiling fan. You probably can hear it too. Be okay with not being able to see around every corner. Once you start implementing the strategies that your guides are showing you that we've talked about, looking at putting things into perspective, if you always step into perspective before you act, usually you're going to come up with a better solution in the moment, and you'll get better at it each time. Okay. That Hermit card is there as well. Like this idea of wanting to get away, and your guides are saying that's okay to take time for yourself. Try to have at least one evening a week, you know, where you're like, I'm not looking at screens. I'm not talking to those women. I'm not, you know, I'm not looking at student work or student reports. I'm not going to think about the kids that are going to be at work tomorrow that are going to flood my booth and cause me to have a terrible day. I'm going to focus on this right now. Don't future jump too much, right? Deal with them as they come, is what your guides are saying. This goes for the adults and the kids. And have faith. You're going to know what to do when the time is right. I feel this so strongly for all of you that if your kid is being ruckusy and you're like, I'm losing control of my kid, because that's laced with more than just anxiety. That's like fear, you know? And the same thing with like those that are in medical, that you're like medically in charge of these children, or you're educationally in charge of these kids, legally in charge of them maybe, right? That you're not going to know what to do, and everybody's going to figure it out, and you're going to be disgraced. I'm not seeing that coming for any of you. And I know that that can happen in any of that. When you're dealing with kids, that can happen. Like a whole life can get ruined just from the perception of others coming in. And so I get that stress. I understand. You are going to be fine though. I'm not seeing anything ending up on the local news. Yeah, and you're actually opening a door to great opportunities. Like if you're an au pair, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry. You are going to be admired. If you're a teacher, you're going to be admired. You're going to maybe get other offers to work in that same kind of field, but like with people who appreciate your talent of, man, this person can really like work a room full of kids, or this person can really like calm those little ruffians down when they go tearing through the mall or the fair or whatever. Yes, I see emotional fulfillment coming for you. I don't see you ending in despair. I see you making the right decisions. This card also always comes with a little bit of you're first starting out, maybe, some of you. Don't act when you're angry. Get things into perspective first. Some people are not going to change for you, and that's okay. Okay. This card also, I always like to bring this up, and I feel bad because whenever I bring it up to a client over the phone or in chat, especially in chat, they go, what does that mean? It sounds really negative. And we're already kind of in like not the most positive situation with like these people you've been dealing with, correct? This card means that it has reached the worst point. Things are going to get better from here. So this card is like, you could feel like there's no way I'm going to figure out what to do. I still don't know what to do, Miriam. You know, like, what book do I read? You know, read about love and logic if you must. That's what worked for me. I can give you a book that would help anybody deal with like awful kids. It's outdated and it's just for like teachers, but it would work for any kid. I guarantee it. So let me know if you would like to borrow that book. I can't mail it probably, but I could tell you where to find one on Amazon or something. Okay. Two of Pentacles. Yeah, you're going to be juggling a little bit first. It's okay. I feel like some of you, this is the first time your kids ever acted like this, or it's the first time that you've dealt with like this negative of a parent situation, or, like there's somebody in particular, that's super mean. And it might, like, I keep feeling groups, but like it could just be like that one kid really gets everybody else going. And, if they moved, your life would get so much easier, kind of feeling, right? But I see you like, yeah, stepping into this new, like, and having this authority, having the key. Look, instead of a sword, she has a key, the key to truth, the key to what to do, right? The key to survive this little mess, okay? Or this big mess. Sometimes kids can make a big mess. And I'm not just talking about spilling cereal on the floor. Two of Wands. Yeah, you're going to make the right choices. It's okay to not know around every corner what choice you're going to make. The more steady you get in that strength that you have and that current that you feel of connection, you're going to do better. And I really don't, I really want to say this. You're not doing bad now. Like, you're really not. I feel like a lot of you are being really hard on yourselves and you want the situation to improve, but like, I'm not seeing you needing to improve that much. It's more just like strategy and how to place your emotions as you go through it. Because if your emotions get heightened, those little suckers will smell it like blood in the water. I'm just kidding. I also feel that you have love for these kids you work with, right? And I'm feeling that across the board, especially for the ones that are dealing with more negative adult energy. You love these kids. You know what's best for them in the long run. And it's okay if your ideas are different from other people's. Like, you can stand your own and stand by like your skill. Okay. Whew. Okay. That was a lot of stuff with kids. Holy heck. Holy heck. Okay. Give them a little, blow them all a kiss for me. Those little darlings. And with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. We will see you next time. Bye. Group 2. So if you picked Yellow Rock, gotta love us some Yellow Rock. Well, let's go ahead and get into your reading. All about the person who is currently challenging you, upsetting you. Nope, I'm not going to say anything. There's something special about Yellow Rock, but I'm not sure what the connection is to you guys. It's like there's a message coming in for the people who picked the Yellow Rock for some reason. I don't know if it reminds you of something that looked just like this when you were younger, maybe. I don't know. I guess if you know, you know. Okay. But somebody's guide was like, focus on the rock in some way, and that was as far as I could get. Alright. Let's look and see. Let's start with these. Maestro. Forgiveness. Flow. And quiet confidence. All right, set these over to the side here for a second. All right. So with this set of cards, I'm getting a couple of different storylines in. So it's going to be mazy and it might be long. Sorry. If I'm feeling romance, but I'm also feeling like a parent wound. But in both cases, like, I feel like if it's a parent wound, like that parent is still maybe in your life, maybe not. In some cases, I'm feeling both. If it's a romance, I feel like it's already over. So if you're like on shaky ground with somebody, that's not the energy that I'm picking up with, you know, like, or if you're doing well with somebody, that's not the energy I'm picking up. I'm picking up that that this message is for the ones who it's over, you know, it's over. There's not going to be a chance of reconciliation. You're going forward. But like, I feel like you know this. Okay. I just wanted to make that clear so that there's not people out there thinking like, oh my gosh, we're going to break up, you know, like, just wanted to make sure like your hearts can resume beating. And maybe more romance stuff will come out, but that's what I'm feeling right now. So we'll deal with those. And then if other stuff pops in, I'll let you know. So with Maestro, it's like, I feel like you are, whether it's a parent wound or a romance, it's like you're moving on with your life is what it feels like. And I know this is about a person who's challenging you. So, you know, if it doesn't give us in the oracle cards, if it's all about you in these oracle cards, like just letting you know what you're going through and that you're in the right place, then that's what we'll use the other tarot for when we clarify, is like what your person is doing, how they're challenging you, and we'll just go forward from there, because like this is all you in a way. I am feeling with like the reason why the breakup happened was like a situation, you know, the reason why you know it's over, some of you, is because it's like you're done. Like, it's not even about them being done or whatever. Maybe they're the ones that said they were done, but it's like you're done too. Like, you know that there's no like going back to them for some reason. To me, I feel like there's a lot of betrayal. I think that possibly this person could have been a part of your life for a good number of years. And so now that it's like, you know that it's over, it's like you're ready to like start conducting your life in how it is now and move forward is what I'm feeling. And I feel like the reason why they challenge you in some way is like this feeling of they've put you through so much, you know, kind of situation. And it was such a big part of your life that like you're trying to reconcile that. Like, you don't see it as like a whole waste of time, nor should you with any relationship that ends. I know that people feel like they were wasting their time with somebody, and it's like, you can choose to look at it that way, or you can look at it as, no, there was a lesson in this that I need to learn. And I know that sounds like Sunday school, and I'm sorry. Your guides are always going to pop in those positive messages. So I just always, you know, I groan when they do it to me. So I figure somebody's out there groaning like, okay, fine. It's like what they did was like unexcusable in some way. But it's this path of having to move forward. With them, I'm feeling like maybe they cheated, maybe they, you know, strung you along, like came in close and then pulled away and then came in close, maybe even bought a home with you and then pulled away again, you know, or like you were just about to sign the papers for the house and then they just pulled it away. They're like, I just can't do this, you know, like I'm feeling extreme scenarios. Okay. And so if I haven't said your exact scenario, like, but your scenario was extreme, you're probably still in the right place. It feels significant to your own life, your situation, you know, life-changing kind of stuff. With your parent wound peoples, it's the same thing. I mean, you spent your whole life with this, like your whole childhood and young adulthood with this person perhaps, and like still share a lot of time with them now, some of you. If you're in a tight-knit family situation, which I feel some of you might be and some of you are not, like it feels like you are very impacted, like you spent a lot of years with this person. And they're still, you know, in some of your lives, maybe not others as much. Because there's been another, like I'm saying, like a reckoning of you stepping forward and saying, nope, I'm the one that's in charge of my life, not you. And I'm moving forward from now on. I feel like a lot of what they may have done was like overstepped. They may have, you know, and we won't go into like too much about it, but they may have like mistreated you in a criminal way or just a very emotionally damaging way. Something that what they did will always affect you on some level for the rest of your life. And you know that, but you're also going to make your life what you make of it. Because Maestro is about like conducting a scene, like deciding what happens where. And in a way, it's helped you find forgiveness in some sense. Like you're starting to get to that point. If you haven't gotten to that point, your guides are kind of showing you that it's coming. And like maybe you're on the verge, like maybe you've already started talking like you forgive. That's like the first step sometimes. Like some people are like, oh, you should own your feelings. It still bothers you. Like, yeah, it still bothers me. But I can start feeling forgiveness feelings if I need to, Carol, right? Like that kind of energy is coming through. I feel like you're just like this person was such a challenge because of how they affected you. I don't know how much they're affecting you now. You know, I'm getting like really strong past energy, but it's just like because they had such an imprint on your life, and then some of you, your parent is still in your life, you know, you're learning how to move forward with them. Maybe some of them your ex, you know, you share a child with or something like that, and you're always going to, or you work together, and there's always going to be that connection of bumping into one another. But you're going with the flow, and you're showing this like quiet confidence is what people are picking up on in the wake of what you're doing. So like I feel like when it's like, oh, how do you deal with this person, I feel like you're already doing it like amazingly well. Everybody in this group is doing really well dealing with this person. That's why depending on what comes out here, because I'm kind of asking your guys, like I also want to know if any of them are dealing with something really current, you know, like people besides just the people who have a parent still in their life. The people who still have a parent in their life, I feel like a lot of you know they're never going to change, but at the same time, you can still hold your place, hold your power, and, you know, forgive them as it comes and go with the flow. And it will actually exude a quiet confidence to your children who are watching or any other family members or that type of thing. Oh, okay. Maybe some boss energy. Like I felt like some of you might work together, but it's like, if it is a boss energy, it feels like one of those really tight-knit family-ish, everybody's up in there, like family in good and bad ways. And maybe, you know, depending on where you are, that could be more good or more bad, right? Because sometimes that can get really dysfunctional, not discounting that, you know? There's a few of that. So there, if that's you, then there was some messages in this for you, that you're exuding a quiet confidence, that you, if you just keep going with the flow, forgive where you can as you move forward and conduct your affairs the way you want to. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. The way that I set up this stand for my camera, I can never see the time. It's probably a good thing. Nope, okay. I'm grabbing too many cards. I just want the ones that we're doing here. All right. Let's do these next. Wheat and grains. You reap what you sow. Good fortune is on its way. Excellent. I like that they put that in there. Imagine if they hadn't have put that. It was just like, you reap what you sow. I'd be like, whoa. Just kidding. The vibe. You're going to get what you are putting into this. And again, I'm putting this right over the top of that Maestro card because you're putting in motion like good energy, good juju, if this person is still in your life in some capacity. And I feel it's just like major betrayal, like major deep down soul hurt that this person caused you, regardless of which group you're in. That feels very prominent to me. And so, you know, I'm going to say it once and then hopefully I won't say it a million times over and over again because it probably gets annoying. I totally recognize and understand how hard this has been for you. Like, that's very evident. Like, probably others do too, that quiet confidence that you exude and your forgiving nature, at least the nature. And I'm not talking about you smiling and being nice to everybody. It's like conducting your affairs as you see fit, but like letting them do what they're going to do because they're going to do it anyway, kind of feeling, especially if they're still in your life, right? In some capacity. I feel like for most of you, they're not, you know, in your home all the time. I don't think, unless some of you live with your parents. I don't feel like the romance people are living together. But I do feel like some of you have this common bond of like children and stuff. And sometimes you'll have to be under the same roof together, like dealing with things. celebrating things, discussing things, maybe even some of you might work together, etc. Okay, let's keep going. County Fair 13. Summon the strength to reach out and discover the unity of community around you. Okay, this really is going to be very literal for some of you. We are in fair season as I'm doing this recording, and so my husband's actually working at a fair as I'm filming this. He should be home like tomorrow night. But anyway, summon the strength to reach out and discover the unity of community around you. Some of you are legit going to the fair, and like maybe you're going to run into that person at the fair. This is very specific for, I don't think this is happening for the whole pile, but you know, for the rest of you, there might be a big community event that's coming up, or part of what is tying you to this person that challenges you still is that idea of like community, you know, having to interact within the community. You might both be prominent community members, members of the same kind of groups. You might have the same social circles and you're trying to still make that work, or the same professional circles. And so there might be something coming up for people, even if it's not a fair, where a big event is coming up, and maybe that's why you're looking at this reading as like, how do I deal with this? And for those of you that have come here for that, that's your big message right there, is that your guides are like, we know you're worried about going to this thing. So let's just focus on that real quick, and then we'll move on to anything more in depth that it means, or we'll just pull another card. Okay. 13, I always think of as this, the origin of the number 13 being scary or bad luck was just this idea of like, it represented an unknown portion of like what comes next after 12 kind of thing, which I was like, that's kind of anticlimactic and disappointing. Like, you know, I thought my dad's theory was way cooler than that. Like, he was like, maybe it was because the 12 disciples, you know, and then Jesus was crucified and he was kind of the 13th prophet of like, that was like, whoa, that's like, you're probably right, Dad, that's like super smart and crazy. And then I like looked it up and it wasn't what it was. So anyway, some of you might be, we brought up Christianity and Jesus, so, which we don't usually do on this show. Some of you might have a Christian background and that's why you're still in this like situation, or you might be a Christian and that's why you're, you know, and I have met Christians that read tarot cards. They don't usually do it in the area where I live, and like they're usually like really like offended by it, or very standoffish from it, or at least just don't want to mess with it, right? And so I'm always like, oh, Christians actually read cards sometimes? That's crazy. I didn't know. Like, you learn all kinds of new things when you get community oriented. And so I feel like your guide's message for this is like, yes, this person will be there. You're going to be bumping into them, sharing under the same roof, but focus on the people, the community that are around you. And you've probably noticed people who haven't taken sides, or who have treated you very decently, or maybe they even took your side in things. People who are, sorry if that was loud as my water bottle, people who are just genuinely wishing you well. And then look at what positivity you can bring out as well, right? Lion number 30. Take a deep breath and remember that peace of mind is the key to navigating your current challenges. You're in a good place, group 2. And I just feel this little bit, and I don't even know if it's for everyone, just that little bit of being rattled that you are done with this person, but you can't totally, you're not always going to have them out of your life. Like if it's a parent situation, whether they're living with you or not, it's like you have to meet with them for, maybe you have to go to the fair with them with all your kids, but it's not just your kids. It's like your snooty sister Susan's kids, and your parents are always like, there's always weird contention that they create between you and your sibling, or you know what I mean? Like I'm feeling all kinds of different things, and I'm trying not to tangent too hard, but with the parent crew in general, you know, there's also like community members around you who aren't your family that you can reach out to, spend time with, you know, even duck away from and just kind of have a moment with somebody who genuinely understands that it's a stressful day for you or whatever it takes to feel good. You know, because remember, you're conducting your own life. You can pick different people to surround yourself with, even if that person is still there. Same thing with work. If you work together, you know, find your people. Anytime you have like a big shift in your life, like for the parent people, it's like there's a parent wound where I think as kids, when we have a parent really, really like mess up or disappoint us or mistreat us growing up, there's a part of us that always just wished that they would have gotten better somehow, that somehow they would have magically changed, right? And I think that part of the sadness of like feeling done and it being a bit of a strain to share your space with this person, this parent, is because inside you something has shifted. Even if they're still in your life, something has shifted inside of you that's like, I know they'll never be what I need them to be. And there's part of you that's sad about that, but like you're moving forward and you're like, well, then I'm going to be the adult that I want to be because I'm an adult now and I can do that, right? We kind of have, as adults, have to remind ourselves of that sometimes with our parents. That we have choices, that we are, you know, yes, we may be joined with our parents in some like official capacity, even in a living situation for the rest of our lives or their lives, but you've decided to move forward and get into yourself and like conduct your own affairs. Like you're going to run your household the way you want to run it, that kind of energy. So peace of mind in that you can do whatever you want. These people aren't affecting you anymore in a physical sense, or at least they don't have to, even if they're in your space. One of the things that sometimes people have to do, like in my, you know, culture, I guess you could say, is tell their parent, like, you know what, you're not the boss of me. You know, like I you know what, at 18 we move out if we're supporting ourselves and doing whatever we want. Like, not all of us culturally are gonna like defy our parents, but it's more common than like some other areas, right? And there's a little bit of power to that. Like, it's not like because you're wanting to be mean to your parents, it's because your parents raised you to get to that point, but then they still want to kind of interfere. And it's like, well, you taught us to do this, mom and dad, you know. Parents can kind of go back on their duties and their values that they told you to do, right? And they can do it in big ways and little ways, but they're all going to do it. Nobody's perfect. They're all going to try to maintain some kind of weird control, even if that weird control is not giving you any attention, right? Or giving you too much advice that's unsolicited or any of that. The main message I'm seeing with this is that your guides are saying you're in a good place. They can't hurt you anymore, right? Unless you really sit there and just start hyper-focusing in on every little thing that they do when you know that they're going to do it anyway, right? And here's the other thing. If everything that a person does makes you feel like raw and painful, it's okay to walk away. Like, you never have to sustain that much damage emotionally or physically from someone ever. That, you know, like I get that there's an element of sacrifice when it comes to parents and loved ones. Because even if it's a breakup feeling, it feels like a family kind of breakup. Like, it didn't just affect you, it affected the kids. If you don't have kids, it affected your parents maybe in some cases. If, you know, it affected your mutual friends, etc. A big deal, right? Your workplace, if there was like a work situation. I have a client that they do really well, and like they all get along really well, better than, I'm like, it's like a movie. Where did you people come from? But I mean, they work together, generate like 3 generations at a time working together in the same spaces all day long. That's their crew, you know, like it's very like, wow, you know, like for me. But for some people, that's their living situation, you know? And so the challenges that you face in that is somehow learning how to make your life your own while still maintaining that community and that living environment that you're in a peaceful and cohesive way. Like these, Sorry, I feel like I just blended two words together a second ago, and I was like, what word did that even mean? That wasn't a word, was it? Let me know if that was a word in the comment section. I can't stop. I'm too busy trying to read this stuff. Yeah, having peace of mind regardless of what your current situation is. And I feel like you're ready for that. I just feel like there's that sticking place that's like, oh, but in the capacity that I do still have to deal with them, it's still really hard. Makes sense. It's so interesting that the last group was dealing with their kids, and this group, some of you are dealing with your parents. Very interesting. You could send this to them. Bakery. Take the time to diligently practice. Sorry, I can't see. It's that time of day. Refine your craft. Success will follow as you savor each little victory along the way. I feel like some of you are just baking things for your little community, or to maybe bake something and take it to the fair. Wouldn't that be fun? I've never done that before. I've been to the fair. Yikes. There's people that deal with the fair every single year, but they're like at the fair, or they like work there, or they like have like a big setup there with their kids with 4-H, or they have like a booth that they're selling pies or whatever. Like it gets crazy. Or they're a choir group that goes and sings every Tuesday, Thursday night in a quartet. And all the proceeds go to whatever charity or thing that their community thing that they're involved in. Like, the fair is complex. But it's great, you know? Okay, so some of you might bake something for your community event, whether it's the fair or not. The fair thing was just a really specific thing that I felt was going to knock somebody's socks off. So I'm like, I was exactly thinking about the fair. Sorry, my nose is whistling. There's like one of those in every like batch, right? I know that when I watch pick a card readings, there's always like one little thing where I'm like, can you see me? How did you know I'm going to the fair? All right, let's go ahead and look at some more stuff. Education. Some of you might be involved in education. Some of you might be going back to school. Some of you are just educating yourself on that moving forward in new and creative ways. Some of you might be like reading books about how to deal with a difficult parent, or how to co-parent when you're no longer together, or whatever, right? And like really just moving forward. And yeah, you're starting to feel good. And if you're not feeling that yet, you're going to start feeling it in little peaks, right? Little peaks of joy. You're like, oh, this feels good. I forgot what this felt like, right? And then you'll realize that it happens more and more the more you lean into this like positive energy. You guys are being super positive considering what you've been through. Like 100%. So I did it again. I was like, I'm not going to I'm not making light of this. Okay. Making a choice. You've made hard choices. Since you made hard choices in the past, you're going to continue making hard choices with more confidence in the future. Like putting your foot down with your parent, where we were talking about before, like, this is my house, right? Not yours. You're a guest here. And we respect you. You respect us, mom or dad. And this could go for in-laws as well. I wish I would have said that earlier, but hopefully you just kind of felt the vibe and stayed if that was the case. Like, we usually get one that's kind of worse than the other. Unless you're just one of those really lucky families. Compass. Yeah, you're starting to know your way. You're creating your path. You're taking your responsibilities. Moonlight, don't have any fear of the future. Trust your intuition. You weren't just born yesterday. Like, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. I feel like a lot of times, like, parents will forget that we know what we're doing. Sometimes exes can act like they, like we're just gonna like poof and cease to exist because they're not with us anymore. F that noise, right, guys? Give me a break. Like, ooh, that main character energy just popped in. I felt somebody out there feel like, yeah, I'm the star of this show, and I'm not with you anymore. Like, it's not like you decide not to be with me. I'm not with you anymore. Good for you. Let's check out your tarot. 10 of Cups. I'm going to lay them out first and then talk about them. Knight of Swords. A lot of times when the tarot comes out after a bunch of oracle cards, a lot of times the guys are giving advice at that point, but we'll just see what they're doing here. The Hermit. And don't worry, I'll pick these up as we talk about them so you can see the pretty cards. Strength. Interesting. That lion card that you got earlier reminds me of the strength card. And usually if I find the strength card in an oracle or a tarot card and then I use both, you're going to get that strength card twice when things are extra spicy in a good way. And 6 of Coins. I love it. Okay. For those of you that have this little ache about a breakup, anytime you have a breakup, even if you know it was the right thing or that it was inevitable or whatever, and you're going to move forward, there's always that like little thought of like, am I going to be alone forever now? And you are not. 10 of Cups shows you finding very good compatibility later, that you're headed towards a home. If you guys don't want that with another person because you're like, no, I genuinely just want to be single, you can have whatever you want. 10 of Cups is about earning a good place in life, having a nice home, finding a good house, having kids if you want to have kids because you can afford to, things like that. Being emotionally fulfilled, being surrounded by happy people that you love. What else? And like I see like communication being easy. That you have that coming towards you as well. If you keep rocking this energy that you're rocking, and I believe you will, then like you're slaying it. Like look how that it doesn't look like he's like coming down to like, destroy this home or whatever. It almost looks like he's coming home, right? Like coming back after a victory. It feels very nice. Being victorious, like even the horse is happy. Like that horse isn't trying to buck him off. That horse is like, yeah, let's ride. Like it's super positive and like good people coming towards you. Wisdom and feeling content. I feel like some of you, if you were prone to loneliness before, that's going to start to slip away because you are embracing that main character. Like you're the star of this show, and sometimes the stars are by themselves, right? That you feel content. The little wise owl in the tree that's by itself is not lonely, right? Is the vibe I'm getting. He's watchful, willing to look at what life brings next and learn from it. This eye is like unflinchingly looking forward. And I don't know what that is. Is that a dragon or a wolf? Or a badger? I'm not sure. What kind of critter is that? I said like 3 very, very different critters, so who knows? Cherries. So yeah, like the hermit is not lonely. The hermit is like, I'm going to be in my little shack, like doing magic and eating snacks and hanging out with my pets and just having a good time, right? Like, I'm not alone. I've got an owl. I've got a badger wolf thing. Dog, whatever that is, hanging out with me. I feel like, I'm like, there's something in the traditional tarot? If you know me, you know I very rarely have like a Rider-Waite deck out here. I have 1 or 2, but I almost never use them. And because I like the it gives my guides like way better variety to be like, look at that right there, Miriam, like big, pow, colorful. Do you see what we're trying to say? Anyway, strength is here again. You are moving forward. You are doing great. Major Arcana cards and very positive and, forward momentum of positivity. Court cards and suit cards. Okay. Like, you're going to own your strength, own your power, and it's going to balance right out. Like, if you're still living with somebody, it's just going to balance right out. I feel like patience coming from you. Like, I don't feel like, so if you're like, I feel impatient, I want things to be okay, that's coming. You're going to be calm and patient. And I'm not saying that there's going to be a bunch of things that are going to need to make you patient, right? But it might be things in the past that did, right? But you're going to feel patience. It's a nice thing to feel. Like, there's a difference between being patient, like outwardly, and like actually feeling patient in your heart. Like, anybody can behave patiently, even if you're like screaming inside. But if you're screaming inside, that doesn't feel good. All right, let's take a look more at... I feel like this group wants to hear like what this person's going to do in some cases. Four of Swords, that's a good indication they're not going to do much to mess things up for you at this point. Like, whatever damage you've sustained over the course of this experience, and it's a general reading, so it varies. I don't feel like them being a problem that's like consistently like gnawing at you, like you may be worried. Ace of Pentacles, new beginnings. Okay, I'm just going to say this for some of you, because you're so patient, and it's not even like you're, I feel like patient makes it seem like you're enduring something. And I don't feel like you're going to be enduring anything. Like, if somebody steps over the line, you're going to like, my house, my life, you don't get to say that to me, like, but you just do it in such a calm and tactful way that people just start to kind of respect you a little bit more and maybe don't push you or test you as much, even if they've been doing that for a long, long time, okay? And I'm definitely talking about your person or your people that have been challenging you. You could end up, some of you even, and some of you might be like, that can't be. And it might not be for everyone, but like, because it's a general reading, but I am feeling that some are going to actually mend fences with this person. You're going to end up having an actual okay relationship with them. Not the way it was before. I'm not seeing like people getting back together yet or anything like that. If that does happen, mazel tov, it's all good. I don't know why I said mazel tov. I've actually never said that before in my life, so maybe that's something one of your guides would say. But yeah, it feels like some of you are going to heal up with that person and like have a whole new deal. That's happened to me a couple of times in my life, but like 1.5 times, you know what I mean? One, and we'll see, right? 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups, yeah, I feel that healing energy again of like actually maybe being able to look back at memories that you had with this person that were good times, and you actually can both be like, that was fun, when like, before you cheated and turned into a big giant POS and ruined our entire marriage or whatever, and like put me through a living, what? There was that time we went to the fair and it was fun, right? And you said that funny thing, or we had that funny moment, creating new memories that feel kind of like old times, like in a way. Yeah, balancing out. They might end up like, not just like leaving you alone maybe and balancing it out that way, but also like possibly helping you in some way. Interesting. Very healing energy, y'all. I'm not lying. Like, I've never seen such positivity in such a rare and precious form. It's really interesting. And I think a lot of it comes down to your willingness to get to that with somebody, even after what they've done. And you don't have to do anything to make this happen, right? And it might not happen for everybody in this exact way. If it's like you don't reconcile with this person, for example, somebody new could be coming forward that's very calm, starts a whole new life with you, it gives you a feeling like you had hope when you were a little kid of like what your adult life was going to be like, and then it actually kind of comes true, right? I'm getting vibes like that, having a good balance and just a really deep understanding and balanced energy with someone. Love, feeling passion. I love this like fire coming out of his chest. I mean, I think it's like coming out of his drum, but it's like hitting his chest, of this like power energy, that strength card again, like coming out and just boom, like being who you want to be. And that's how you're going to move through with people. Like that's how you're going to evolve relationships with people, even people that have hurt you so deeply. Queen of Swords. God dang. Yeah. Queen of Swords doesn't take no S from nobody. But she's also loved. She's a loved queen, you know? She's above it, you know? Literally in this, I love it. She's above it. And you've definitely been giving that vibe this whole reading of just like moving forward, not gonna pick in my battles, not gonna play into silly little games or take any abuse, right? The Chariot, being victorious. Notice how she's not riding like two crazy horses, right? It's like she's part of the other horse almost, with her like shell that she has and this little shell that she's riding with this little snail, just one snail. And snails are not known to be like brash and impulsive. They don't move too fast. They're pretty calm, you know? Like they have that persona because they're so slow. What the age, you guys? All right, you saw it here. You saw me pulling cards. I can't make this stuff up, guys. And the Hermit again. Look how peaceful she is. Some of you like just go fishing. Let me know. How beautiful. Your guides are so like reassuring and loving, and I've got so much water energy of that, like the cup energy, and also being above it in the air the way that they are. Fire, like you've got all these really, in Pentacles, you've got all these really well balanced like earth, air, fire, water element energies going on. And Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So the main word from your guides now is to just keep doing what you're doing. My gosh, you're doing so great. Like even if it doesn't feel like it yet, this was a message about this coming to you. And so much of it is just of your own making, of like, all right, you did what you did. You are who you are. You can't give me what I need you to give me, and never could, never can. And we're just going to have to move forward from where we are right now. And I'm going to do what I want to do. You can do with whatever you want to do, but within reason to my boundaries that I'm setting with you if you're still in my life. So, I mean, that's pretty intense stuff, guys, and pretty good stuff as well. So I'm going to let you go. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box, you guys. We shall see you next time. Bye. Hello, group 3. So if you picked Peachy Heart, well, let's go ahead and look at who is challenging you at this time. Who is challenging you at this time? What to do about them? Bliss. Interesting. I'm picking up something here already. Bullseye. Okay. Discovery. Magic. Interesting. And glide. Okay. This is going to be a little bit of a... Remember, it's a general reading. Let's get started. Okay, so I feel like the person that's bugging you, this has been such an interesting like group of readings, because like the last reading, they had left that person behind, like they were moving forward. Like, I barely even saw that person in their reading. It was just them moving forward, let's go ahead and talk about bliss. I feel like the person that's bugging you seems to have things going really well for them in their life right now. And that like makes it even more like of a challenge to have to deal with, is it's like you don't see them as a positive person and they seem to be having all this luck, right? They're gliding through life. They seem to get to, anything they try to get, they manage to get, right? Anything they're looking for, they manage to discover or be discovered. They always, they could be really skilled in something, right? And they just look like it's so easy for them. And I'm not going to push this into oh, you should be happy for them. Nothing like that. Like, I feel like if you dislike this person, you have your reasons, right? And that's even like part of the issue as well. It's like, what's really going on with them and not everybody else does. Everybody else seems to think they're so great. That's coming through. And that can be very frustrating. It could be a situation where like one thing that's coming through is like, you know how it is when like you break up with somebody and you both kind of move on with your lives, but they, were the one that feels like it was kind of their fault that you broke up, and then they get with somebody that's like, seems like everything's just going really great for them. Maybe you see them like not making the same mistakes that they even made like with you. They seem to like they're there for the other person's kids more, or they're there, you know what I mean? Like that kind of energy is coming in of like feeling like they won, right? When you don't feel like they deserved to win. That's definitely coming through. What else is coming through? So like this could be, just to throw out a couple of scenarios, this could be like your ex's new person. This could be your ex themselves getting a new person or just having things work out without you. The ex scenario could go different ways: professional, platonic, personal, romantic, however, right? I'm getting coworker vibes of like somebody that shines at work maybe, and you're like, but they're not even that great. And I could do all this stuff too, and I would never get the same kind of accolades that you're giving this other person. Why is that? Like that kind of stuff is coming through. It's an infuriating way to have to feel, because especially like when I feel like deep down in your heart that that's like how it is, right? And and it's just rough, like to not see somebody get what they deserve. Maybe this person did you dirty in some way, or they really messed up, or they're just not as great as they're like fooling everybody. Maybe they lie, to get where they are. I don't know. It's like a lot of anger energy coming towards this person. And it's like not fair. I keep hearing it's just not fair. Like, why should they get to have bliss after what my experience with them has been? Okay. That's mainly what's coming through. It could be lots of different, like I'm seeing like the X factor. I'm seeing the coworker factor. If it is a coworker factor, I feel like you do still work together because you have to see this person. Like, I feel like you probably would be able to move on if like they weren't still there, right? Right there in your face every day doing whatever it is they're doing. That's like so uncomfortable, to have to go through and watch. Okay, we have number 9, coneflower. This is giving me this feeling of like, you feel like you have to watch your back with this person. Like you have to watch what you say about them to others, because they might be like, what do you mean? They're great, right? And you're like, like you don't and it hurts your feelings. That makes you feel like they're not like an ally towards you, I'm feeling this like, feeling like they're showing you up, or feeling like they're trying to make you look bad is coming through in your energy of that worry of that. Iced tea, number 28. Lean into your soul's pull and listen to its whispers to nurture yourself. I feel like some of you are actually feeling like you're going to have to do like protective magic to like keep this person from negatively impacting you more than they already have in some cases. That doesn't have to be for everyone, but that is coming through for some. Like feeling defensive, feeling like you need to, and like, I'm also seeing like when you have to do like an insufferable office party and everybody's supposed to bring something, you have to like step up your game because that other person's going to try to show people up. And like, they will say something about it, right? You're like, I just can't deal with them saying one more thing to me. Kind of like overachieving a little bit, like maybe overreaching or overcompensating so that they can't make you look any worse than you feel like they already have. Okay. And I'm not saying that they've really succeeded in doing that. I feel like it might just kind of feel that way. I don't feel like a negative impact on you yet that other people are taking because this other person's doing what they're doing. I also feel that like that feeling of, they're with somebody else, they're happy. Maybe some of you are still single if it's like that X Factor situation, and you feel like a pressure to look like you're doing better to like protect yourself, and I feel like you're doing fine. Like, I honestly don't feel like you're in a bad way. Like, I feel like you're actually very successful as well, but like there might just be certain things that they have that you don't, that you're like, that looks like they're one-upping me, right? And even if they're not doing it on purpose, it still like makes me uncomfortable and it sucks. Or, oh, that's so nice that, they're so attentive to their significant other now. Too bad they couldn't do that for me when they were with me. That kind of energy is definitely wearing on you, the people that are in that group. Craftsmanship, 14. Empower yourself with the knowledge that each challenge brings you closer to mastery. I'm like, okay. Big picture talk from your guides and I'm saying okay because I'm like, well, I wouldn't feel better if my guide said this to me. So I'm empathizing or projecting on you, one of the two. It's always hard to tell. Am I empathizing or projecting? Okay. Your guides are saying that this is all happening for a reason. Like, you're meant to see this for some reason. It's not because it's actually how it is. Okay. It's not how everyone sees it. They're probably not really thinking about it as much as you are in a lot of cases. And I'm not saying that to like make you feel worse. I'm saying that to try to make you feel better. That people think you're doing fine and that you're empowering yourself. And I feel, and I'm just going to throw this out there as well. Like the bliss and the bullseye and the everything working out, I feel like they kind of embellish this person. And I think that's part of what drives you nuts about them is that they kind of embellish how well they're doing. Like they don't just post a happy picture of them out doing fun things. It's like they have to post this big long story too about how great it is and how well everything fits together and how if everybody would just do it like they do it, they would be happy just like them kind of phoniness, right? There's yeah. It feels disingenuous. It does. And I think that that's part of what also brings that anger up in you, Meadow, 31. Let your being be as full and vibrant as a summer meadow. Yeah, I want you to understand that you look like you're on top of it too. I know that you might be working hard to like cast that image out, especially if you're around this person and they're constantly trying to show you up. Like, I don't see you doing it in the phony way that they are. Does that make sense? Like, I really want to make that clear. That's why I said this is going to be a tough reading, because it's like, I don't want you to feel like you don't have justification for feeling like the disdain that you feel towards this person. Like, it feels genuine for you. Like, I feel like you're not willing, like, you could go out and date somebody like right off the bat and move in with them. You could, but you want something more real than that. that's also coming through as like kind of phony. Okay. Um, yeah. What else? And like the the projection of them putting out how great everything is for them. Your guys want me to remind you about that as well. As like, I don't know, it's not that great for them all the time. Like that's just what they're showing people, right? And when you work that hard to show people that, some people get good at it, you know? And the guides want you to put that into perspective as well, is that it's not necessarily the end all be all truth of their situation. Like I don't feel like they won, you know. Anybody with an outside perspective is not going to see it that way generally unless they're like a really meddlesome person. So take that into account. What else? Let's see. Encouragement. Yeah, your guys want to encourage you. Like, you need to encourage yourself. You're not doing bad. Like, you look great. Look at how great she looks. Like, she's sitting there making this fancy drink and using magic to protect herself if she needs to. That's fabulous. I'm feeling fabulous vibes for you, honestly. Golden Palace. Yes. You're actually looking... Ooh. So breakup crew, you guys are actually looking good to that other oh, the coworker crew too. Part of why they overcompensate around you so much and also make you feel like they're kind of trying to make you look bad in comparison, if not in more shady ways than that, is because they think you look they know you're not trying as hard as they are. Oof, that's a tasty truth. Doesn't that just make you grin from ear to ear? They know. But they also feel like you're outshining them in a more genuine way, that you have a spark they don't have. This is coming through very clear. Goodness gracious. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it's very hot and I'm having to chug water. Solitude. This person also thinks that you stand in solitude better than them. So like your ex, I think we can safely say if they've moved on with somebody else and they're showing how happy they are, they might be happy. I'm not going to like take it to like an extreme level with everybody, but no relationship is perfect, right? I feel like for those of you that are bothered by this new person, like it's because they came in kind of fast and it feels phony-ish to you. Right. And I feel like you're onto something there in that instance, because like they feel like you're more comfortable. Part of what makes you feel like you're outshining them to your other person, this coworker, this ex, it's like you look like you're more comfortable on your own than they feel. They feel like maybe people look at them and think, oh, they moved on so fast because they can't be alone or whatever. Like, there's that comparison going on. Just saying. I can be petty and go hee because, you know, it's not my situation. You can keep on a kinder face if you want, or you can hee with me. Yes. All right, we have Knight of Coins. This is generally what your guides would consider the advice section, okay, of the reading. Is what it's been coming out. The Tower. Nine of Cups. Man, you guys are going to be happy about this. I feel like gleeful. Eight of Swords. Okay. And King of Wands. Alrighty. So here's what I'm picking up for the breakup crew. Some of you, not all, but some of you are going to get to see that little perfect relationship crash and burn, especially if it's phony. It's not going to maintain, okay? And you're going to get to see that fallout, which I know is like, I always tell my guides, like, I know that that's not important, but I still would like to see it, please. I'm not going to gloat. I'm not going to like, ha on their Facebook page. Be like, that's what you get, sucker. You know, I'm not going to do that. Like, but, you know, can't I have that warm little fuzzy feeling in my belly of sweet, sweet revenge? Because I feel like some of you are going to get that. You're going to get to watch that topple. Okay. And with that Knight of Coins, it's the slowest moving knight with the best payoff, right? Knight of Coins takes their time. And like that old saying, and I have no idea if it was like from the Art of War or if they actually know exactly who said this, is like an old ancient saying. I've heard Native Americans claim it. I've also heard like people say it was like in the Art of War, and I didn't read that. So look it up and tell me. Like, who said if you wait on the riverbank long enough, you'll see your enemies float by one by one? Okay, it's a morbid way of saying that, like, if you bide your time, people generally will learn to take care of themselves. Like, you don't have to mess with them. That a lot of times you will get to see that downfall. Okay, taking your time and just not worrying about it and just taking care of your own self, that's Knight of Coins. Slow and steady wins the race. Doing your own thing, not worrying about rushing around to outshine somebody, right? Not worrying about getting the best things and proving you came out on top and you're the one that won in this, like, you know, like, you don't need to care about that. If that's what that person cares about and it feels like they do, like, not all those things are going to work out for them. You can't keep on that facade forever. Okay. And I feel like a lot of you are going to get to see, like, not like a full downfall, but, you know, a little bit of getting knocked off their high horse a bit. You know, and I honestly, I don't feel like that you wanting to see that means that you're petty or anything like that. I always feel petty talking about it, but it's because I'm critical of myself. It's natural. It's something we want to see. If somebody isn't, you know, as good of a person as they like to tell everybody they are, and they like to show up and do all that. I totally get it. I hope I'm coming through in a positive way. But yeah, like getting what you want to see, them like seeing you do better, them not evolving possibly, them not being able to get themselves out of a bad situation that they've created for themselves, like all of that is coming through in these scenarios. Like I'm getting different little tidbits here and there. And you kind of feeling like you end up on top at the end. So that's like a little bonus. Like we don't always get that. Sometimes we just have to like be okay and, you know, use our intuition to see beneath like the facade people show and be like, yeah, that's not going to work out the way they're acting like it will, or that's not as great as they're acting like it is. We don't always often get to see it. 5 of Swords, yes. Some of you know this person has a selfishness that they hide from others, that you know about that other people don't see, and it bothers you. I totally get that. You're getting validation for those things. Queen of Pentacles. You, however, my dear, are looking classy. You look like you're a fresh new rose, that you're just kind of... you've got a glow up going on. Like you're really taking good care of yourself right now. Like, and like I said, you're shining. Like some of you are trying to shine because this person is always trying to outshine you in some way. Or you're at least just trying to like look dignified or look like you're okay, you know, and you're pulling it off. Like you look fresh to people. You're looking fresh. So you can relax, most definitely. Most definitely. I feel like some of you want to know what more is going to happen with this person. Your intuition is speaking loudly about what you think might happen with this person based on how they are. You can fly with that. Your guides are saying that you are, if you're picking up on something that you intuitively think is going to happen to them, it's probably going to happen to them. 7 of Wands, you're going to come out looking like you're on top. They're going to think that you look better than them by the end of this, 100%. Even if, like, even if you're not one of the lucky ones that gets to see it as well as you would like to see their downfall, they already kind of feel like you're already pulling ahead. That's why they're trying to compensate so hard. Yes, I love getting this card. You're going to get to see them get there somehow. Like, a lot of you are going to get to see it in some way, either intuitively or you're going to see it for real. Like, I feel like you're going to feel like you're on top. Like, that's what Seven of Wands is about. It's about being on a higher ground than your enemies. Second chances, people getting what they deserve, cause and effect, karma coming forward, seeing things, getting the communication you need, saying what you need to have said in some way, expressing yourself, and the Lovers. Yeah, you're coming out on top, 100%. Very positive. Even though this person is not a very positive person in your life, your outcome is looking so positive. Like, you're kind of getting everything you want. That Nine of Cups energy. Way back when we were looking at the first tarot cards, I think. Did you get Nine of Cups? I'm pretty sure you did. But yeah, it's like that wish fulfillment energy of like getting to see what you want, getting justice, coming out on top. People getting what, you know, they deserve, kind of, you know, is coming through. And so with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, group 4. So if you picked the little turtle, let's go ahead and take a look at who is currently not getting along with you very well for some weird reason. Who's currently not getting along with you? The person that's challenging you the most, however you want to look at it. Let's take a look. Okay. Not gonna lie, a very negative presence is entering into my feelings here. Okay, we have story. Okay. Savor. Abundance. And new beginnings. Okay. Not gonna lie, I'm getting evil step-parent vibes. Evil step-parent vibes. And I mean, hey, step-parents can affect us long into our adulthoods. That's nothing new there. I feel like the backstory that you all have with this person is a very extensive backstory. Like, there's been some stuff that went down more than once over a long period of time. That's why I'm getting that like mixed family energy. Somebody new coming in and sort of ruining what you had before in some way. It's like somebody moving in with your family that you don't care for. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an evil step-parent. This could be like, you know, your kid is moving back in and they have their significant other with you and you're like, you don't approve. And like you have like a long history with this person to feel confident in saying that you don't approve. Does that make sense? Like, those are both coming in. So like somebody, like not somebody that you're romantically involved with, but like somebody in your household is romantically involved with somebody and they may be moving them in and there's a long history there. Here's the other thing that's coming through. I feel like maybe some of you are taking in a parent or a step parent who was not necessarily the most positive influence in your life and now you kind of have to take care of them and they're in your home. That is also coming through. And that is tough because it looks like you had a very harmonious home before, and now you're kind of worried that they're going to bring this past trend of negativity into your life. I feel like there's some people around, some of the people in this group that are saying, oh, you need to give them a second chance. And you're like, I don't want to, dude. If this person wasn't with so-and-so, they would not be in my life. That kind of energy is coming through. So heavy, I get it. And it is, it's like wrecking this harmonious vibe that you had. Okay. New beginnings. It's almost like the new beginnings you can't even enjoy because this person might be there to kind of muck it up. Okay, so we had like, what, 3 scenarios? Like a parent coming to live with you, your kid coming to live with their significant other, some kind of step sibling or step parent. Maybe a step sibling got divorced and they're like moving closer to home, or you know, they went to college and that didn't work out, so they moved closer to home and you're already living there and you're like, we were doing great until you showed up, you know, that kind of energy. Very interesting. And I feel for you because like my home is such a sacred space of no BS that like we would have a hard time like moving somebody in that was like negative like that. Okay. Vegetable Garden 41. It's time to check in with and reflect on the seeds you have planted. Interesting. Okay, a couple of things are coming up for this. I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these first. Sunburst 37. Embrace your inner light and share it with the world, inspiring others to do the same. Okay. Fruit Trees 22. Don't miss what is right in front of you. Everything is as it should be. Ooh, I feel like maybe somebody didn't want to hear that particular phrase. Like, I know that you know that it's as it has to be, right? But, like, I don't know if you feel like it should be that way. Flower Bouquet. Savor presence with life and notice the magic living in the small moments. Okay, so here is the message that I'm getting for this. And some of you that have a person moving in with your child, like your adult child, you have like a significant other moving in with them in some way, and you don't care for the significant other a great deal. There may be some, if this person's on the really disrespectful side, there may be some messages for you in group 1, just so you know, because there's a lot of parental vibe going on in there. So one of the messages that your guides are putting through with this, and this, I'm hesitating because this is never something I want to hear from my guides, is like, look back on the story between you. And don't look at all the things they did that they could have done differently at this time. Just look at the things you could have done differently to make things easier on you or your situation back then. It may be some nuggets of wisdom are in there to help you with cultivating how this is going to go now. And that's something your guides want you to also take into account, is that, you know, where were you at when this person first did you dirty, or did, you know, they did their first negative impact on you? And how much time has gone by? What has changed? Okay. And maybe they haven't changed at all, and you know that, right? Maybe you're scared they haven't changed yet, and you need them to be better than they were if it's going to work out, you know, if you're not going to go crazy, that kind of energy. Your guides are showing that if you reflect back on the past and not trying to look at it in a more objective manner, if you can't look back at the past without getting irately, insanely upset, maybe don't do this part, okay? But like, if you do feel comfortable looking back, like, what is different back then than it's different now? How are you different, right? So, you know, are you on a firmer standing? Do you have a lot of positive things you've created around in your life? And I feel like you have. I see like cooking is fun in your house, right? that you have like all the things, you feel like you have pretty much everything you need. You like your space. It's decorated the way you want it to be. You have a nice little, routine, and you like to look forward to new beginnings. You like new energy, but not if it's going to be energy that's going to drag you down. And so your guides are trying to show you that focusing in on there are good things here. And if you keep pushing that positivity that you've always been pushing without this person's presence, you can still push that. So for example, let me think of a scenario. Say it's like a parent or the parent of a spouse, like an in-law moving in, right? That's like elderly, and they've always been super critical of you in some way. That kind of, let's use that scenario. And if it's somebody specific, just let us know. You, because of how they were in the past, and this is also tying into this message here, and that story behind you, you have grown exponentially since this person first did you dirty, whether it was a short amount of time or a long amount of time. I'm feeling like it's more lengthy, like this goes back this beef goes back years kind of feeling. It does feel like family related in some way, whether it's your extended, and getting squashed together under the same roof. Okay. I'm feeling that you have come a long way, and because of how this person negatively impacted you before, when you cultivated your own home, you really focused on keeping it positive, a place that's peaceful, a place where people can feel comfortable, a place where you focus on the joy of life and not the problems of life, right? You focus on solutions and new beginnings and abundance, and just no matter what, we can always improve upon ourselves and our surroundings. And so you've really taken charge of that. And your guys are saying that you can do that now. Even if there's a negative person, don't let that, it's your house, so it's kind of like, we don't really have to, you're the guest here, not the other way around. I know that can be a hard flip of the switch in somebody's mind to get into that, but you're older now. I feel like you're old, you're years older than you were when this person first bothered you, is what's coming through for this pile. And I feel like if you embrace your inner light, that inner positivity that's created this beautiful home, that you're inviting this person in to stay with you, because even if you don't want to, you're still letting it happen, right? I mean, you might not feel like there's a choice. Like maybe your spouse is like very set on the idea. Maybe the person moving in is very set. Maybe there's just nowhere else for them to go. And you just know that that's just the way it is. Like familial obligation, right? Or you're the parent and you know that your kid's going to end up with somebody, and like, chances are if you all got along really well before, having anything change or disrupt that is going to, and it's not ideal, feeling like it's not an ideal fit all at once, that can be very daunting, especially if they're like, disrespectful in some way, polar opposite to you in some way. But your guys are saying that if you keep throwing that positivity out like you have been, it's not even just a matter of your mindset, although that's part of it. There's an energetic set to this of you've created good juju in your home. That's why it feels abundant. That's why things are good. That can transform negative forces. And that's something you could even visualize, like visualize that person walking into your home. And instead of thinking of it daunting your home, even if they're trying to daunt, right? Imagine the positivity in the home changing them, working on them, moving them over into a more positive space. Your guides are saying also, don't miss what's right in front of you. Everything is as it should be. There's a reason this is happening. Sometimes these challenging people come into our lives and we can actually turn the relationship into something very positive. I realize that everybody's situation is going to vary. And I also realize that, anybody tuning in is not always going to have a message because it's a general reading. But that being said, those whose guides are here with us, who are connecting with you, are trying to remind that you can turn a negative relationship into a positive one. It is so hard to imagine sometimes because people can be so rigid and so difficult. And I feel like a lot of you are dealing with a very rigid situation. At least it was back then. Maybe, just maybe, you're strong enough now that you can flip that scale. I feel like you can. I feel like some of you can and you don't know it yet. That you're so focused on what could go wrong that you're not seeing what could go right, right? And I know, I'm sorry, I hate it when my guides say these things to me as well. If it's, you know, if this is a tough medicine to swallow. And then I'm also saying, like, sever the presence with life, savor presence with life, and notice the magic living in small moments. So make it special. Make every day special. Whether that's starting on a new slate with this person and be like, okay, let's try again, Martha. You know, like, their name doesn't have to be Martha. But, you know, come on, Grumpyton. You know, like, we have to live together. We might as well work it out and try to figure out a way to be on term with each other. It's okay to do that. And you don't have to do it through fighting. You know, it's an energy thing. And I feel like you have it. And a lot of you don't know that you have it. You have the ability to transform others' behaviors with your own energy. So that's something to think about. So you can put a positive spin on it and try to get some better results from this person, you know, that's in your life that you seem to have in your life right now, and regardless of whether you would prefer them to be or not. I get it. And that's quite a sacrifice to make. And I don't take that lightly either. But it doesn't have to ruin. Moonlight. This reminds me of the Moon card in Tarot. I feel like your guides are basically saying with this card that you can trust your intuition, but trust your power. Okay, look at this owl. Owls are a very strong symbol for change and wisdom. Gaining wisdom. And she's got this, what is that? Is that an hourglass? I feel like they're saying, like, time is on your side. I feel like they're saying, like, now's the time for you to know what you're capable of. She has these wings that, like, are just starting to, like, develop in the moonlight. She might not know. Like, she's still feeling, like, crummy, right? Because she can't see around that corner. And your guides are saying, believe around that corner, that you can make it around this corner. That they're going to help guide you, that you have divine guidance at this time, and that you've been able to divinely guide yourself. You are the reason your home is so beautiful. You are the reason that you have this serenity that you don't want disrupted. It's because of your hard work. It's not because anybody else has power over that if you let them, right? Ghostlands, yeah, the past. There's a lot of unhealed energy in the past with this person. And I feel like whether you're able to talk, you know, and I always put this out as a reason because I've worked with people before in my life, right, that they couldn't evolve. Does that make sense? And you know who will move and who will not. Sometimes they can surprise us. That's why I always like to give people a shot. But I also have to, like, be realistic and logical with myself of, like, okay, this ain't happening, right? So there's something about the past that you need to reconcile with, whether that's, you know, actually hashing out with them, like, hey, what you did was wrong. I don't accept it. It's not okay. And it's not welcome here. There are ways to do that. You know, there's also ways of being like, okay, they're not capable of that conversation. It would just lead to a fight. I don't want to bring any disruption to my home. So I'm just going to deal with them on a case-by-case basis and will not tolerate any disruptions that are unhealthy in my home. That's okay too. The main thing is to try to move past this and move forward together where you're at now, because we can't go back and change the past. We all know this. They can't change the past, even if they wanted to, even if they had self-awareness enough to want to for you, right? They might not be capable of apologizing. They might not even be able to be capable to see why they need to apologize to you. And again, not discounting how hard that is. It's so hard. It can be so infuriating. But your guides are saying this is back in the Ghostlands. This is back at a time that isn't here now. We need to focus on the time that we're in now. And that is so hard to do when things still hurt from the past. So there's some kind of reckoning to go through there. That can look different for a lot of different people. You know, some of you might need to go and do like some accelerated resolution therapy where you have like a 1 to 5 session deal where you're like, I need this to not bother me anymore. That kind of therapy exists. I highly recommend it. Especially if you have like PTSD, trauma, you know, those types of things in your past. It can really help you tackle the stressors in your future and your present without those old feelings getting drudged back up every time, right? So it's just, you know, one little idea. Like some people, it might be saying something to somebody and being like, if I let you into my house, I want an effing apology. I deserve it. You know, you can dig your heels in as hard as you need to. Work towards what you need to get to that positive place is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a war. I feel like some of you feel like you got to protect yourself almost like it is, you know? That you're already looking around and you've already predicted like half the stuff they're going to say that's going to make you upset. And it's because you've seen them do it before. You've seen, you know, how are they going to make this one certain situation that's going to be tense in the house no matter who's living there, right? Because we all have tensions, right? How is that going to affect me? How is that going to affect my relationships that were here before this person came in? All of that's very, very true and valid. And how you deal with that is totally up to you. Like, it is your house. This is like the main thing I want to make clear. Your house. And whether you're sharing it with somebody on an equal footing of like, you have just as much say over this house as I do kind of situation, there needs to be some kind of a reckoning between the people that are there and the people that are coming in, and then also reconciling with the past of what happened and why it feels tense now. Okay. Movement. Yeah. Keep moving forward. Like, I really feel like you're going to be surprised that it's not, because you're in a different place now, in a stronger place now. And I realize that you don't feel that yet, but it's going to become clear. Like, I'm getting like the vibe of somebody who like hasn't been accepted as the head of their household yet. And it could be because you haven't accepted yourself fully on that level. Once you do, not them, you, that's when other people fall into line. I know it's like, it's hard to wrap your head around in some cases. I get that, but I'm telling you, that's what's coming towards you. Yes. Not just listening to the other person and being willing to listen, willing to let people change. Listen to yourself. Remember that like fear and anxiety and anger scream and intuition whispers. I cannot remember who said that. I'm pretty sure it was just another person doing tarot card readings like this. It might have been like Eso Tarot or Gem Goddess. Because I have watched those guys before, and like they usually have very witty things to say like that. I know it was somewhere like that. If I can find the actual video, I will tag them. You know, but they said they heard it somewhere else too as well. But it's very true. And it's something that I keep repeating to myself when I can't sort out my feelings of like, oh, okay, what's screaming and what's whispering? You know, when that verse, be still and know, is like another one. It's kind of like, you know, be still and know what the answer is, because deep down you already know what the answer is, right? That kind of energy. Be still until you understand what your feelings are even feeling. Is it anger yelling, or is it something that's actually needing to be addressed? Does the anger need to be addressed from before? Like, you're unpacking a lot of feelings by letting this person come into your home. And like, it might just even be just a visit. It might be like the idea looming over you that, yeah, it's just a visit, but it's going to be every Christmas if they stay together now. It's going to be, right? I'm feeling that. Like, it's, now I'm on their schedule on when they're going to get a job and get out, you know, like what if they have kids? What if, you know, all those things. Your guides are saying, don't fear the future. You're actually going to navigate this so much better than you think by bringing that positivity that you've been cultivating in your own life and in your own heart and head this whole time. I promise. But I don't envy you. Like, it's hard. Like, even company I love to have is hard. By the time it's over, I'm usually like worn out. Even if I don't want them to leave, want to keep them forever, it's still there. It takes something out of you. It does. And that happens to everybody, I think. Three of Cups. See, Three of Cups is about harmony. It's about getting along. It's about bonding with other people in like a friendship kind of way. This could end up being something beautiful. Seven of Swords, but you gotta let go. And they need to let go too. Like, it's not all on you. Like, I feel like you were the more reasonable person in this situation. That's why there's so much trepidation about them coming into your space, is because of the discomfort that they caused before. And I feel that 100%. But things are gonna balance out. Justice. Justice also means that if there's retribution or reconciling that needs to happen, like, the fair and just thing does come to pass. And that's also something important to remember. And yes, learning, teaching, growing together, that is also coming through. Wonderful. Whew. There's betrayal. There's things that happened back there. Again, it's like that Ghost Lance card. It's like there's something that needs to be moved past through that. Even if it's like, well, they kind of suck as a person and they're just not capable of living up to the standards that I would set for myself or anyone else, you know? That's never an easy place to arrive at, but it is a place that you can find peace at if you need peace at. It sounds like I was talking about a test, a standardized test. The pre-SAT, where you go and practice for the SAT. Anybody have to do that in school? Nine of Cups, that's wish fulfillment. King of Swords, that is overcoming challenges. Queen of Wands, that is owning your strength, showing your true colors, and shining. Again, you have so many positive things to bring that it bears to keep in mind that this person cannot drag you down to their level, okay? The Devil card. This is your house. You're in charge, okay? If this person wants to stay chained to their old behaviors, that's not on you. Like, this is your web that you've woven, okay? And that's your home. You're in charge, not this person. It's very important that you remember that, your guides are saying, and embrace it. You can rule your roost without having to use a heavy hand. I know it feels like maybe you can't at this time. But that's what's coming to you. That is what is coming to you. I just want to reassure you as much as I can. Four of Pentacles, you have protection. She has this beautiful fence around her, protecting her beautiful home. Which is like her dress. Like, you're the heart of your home. If you didn't know that. And you're not going to lose that. This card is about fear of losing that, of being shut out. It's not about that coming true. It's about that fear feeding on you. It's not going to come to pass. You're the Emperor. Yes, you are king of your castle, my friends. You don't have to lay down for anyone. This is going to be a lucky time. I feel like you guys are going to look back on this and be like, I was so worried this was going to be bad. But in the end, we pulled it together. It ended up being great. I did the right things. I made the right moves and I had victory. Bam, baby. Look at that. The sun. This means everything that you think is going to go bad is actually going to go well. That your situation is going to turn wonderful. That everything is going to be okay. I love this for you, okay? I know that it's not the most ideal situation and that you have perfectly good reason to not think that this person might be on the same page with you. But your guides want you to know that you're in a much better place than you think you are. You are stronger than you think you are. You're going to do great, and it's going to actually maybe turn into something very joyous for you. I feel like it will. as long as you just keep moving forward in this matter. You manifested this positivity. That will eclipse any negativity that person brings in. And with that, I thank you and I wish you the best. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, go ahead and do so. I have ways you can reach me in the description box. And thank you, my friends. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.